Sarah Davis, and we've got one of my design heroes, Malcolm Garrett, I think, is coming in, and his colleague John from Design Manchester. So you've got a double bill later today, folks. Yeah, lots of different perspectives coming into the workshop. You know, we had some great perspectives so far from our previous 3 experts, but we've got 2 more this afternoon, and that's your last lecture. So yes, should be good. And Malcolm Garrett, I'm just going to say, he's the kind of Ross in many ways, because pretty much the first record I bought, he designed, which was a record by the band called the Buzzcocks, Love You More, and it's a great record. I'll get you were a little bit nervous with Kate yesterday. I'll be getting a bit nervous with Malcolm today. So there you go.
I think I actually saw an archive on Instagram the other day, so I'll have to check if that was him. But yeah, very cool stuff, and I'm hyped.
Excellent.
Love to see Manchester design and stuff like that, and it's going to be cool.
Yeah, nice. Lots of these different opinions coming in the space, and obviously, as I said before, and we'll talk more about that later. Some of them are going to crit some of you. So these are people who aren't just coming in to give you a talk; they're also going to come back, and some of you will get mentorship on your projects from them. But we've got a long way to go before that happens. So I'm going to share some slides like I do. Let's talk through some stuff. So we've started the session. Welcome back. Welcome back, everybody. Hope you had a nice evening. Bit of admin. Zoom and Slack, we mentioned this yesterday. We need your names to match because you are getting moved around during the course of the day. And we need right now, to be honest with you, right now would be ideal for you to make sure that your names in Zoom and Slack match. Abby, there's a tab to do that, isn't it? It's like participants tab, is that right?
Yeah, so if you go to the participants tab and then hover over yourself, it should say rename. I think it also works if you right click on your own picture in Zoom. I'm not too sure, but if you're struggling, again, just hit up a member of staff, chuck a message in the chat in Zoom, and I'm sure someone will be able to help you.
Yeah, and then Slack, it's like edit your profile or something, isn't it? And you can change your name willy-nilly. Yeah, so please make sure they match up. Please help us to help you. It just confuses everything, and you're in the wrong space, and that's all happens. So if you can make sure that's the case, that would be really useful. And if it isn't, there will be snags. So yeah, have a look at that right now maybe, and just double check in on the window. I'm going to just talk through a few things that I want to just kind of make clear, because today is the day that we finish the first diamond. So the whole thing, as I've said, is very much inspired by the UK Design Council's Double Diamond, the whole process. I mean, obviously there's a lot of other things in there too. This is something that the Design Council looked at a lot of different designers, leading designers, and they analysed all their processes and came up with this model, and it's been very useful, I think. So today is the day we come down the pyramid and we get to the brief. But let's back over our shoulder a little bit for a moment, because I want to just be very clear about something. All those exercises, especially the pair exercises, we are practicing a concept that I'm a big fan of, and that is the notion of active listening as opposed to listening with intent to reply. And I'm just going to describe what that is and just see if it resonates with you. Because listening with intent to reply is something that we kind of automatically do for some reason. I think society trains us. And I know I can be very guilty of it. And you kind of listen to them. You're not really listening. You're going, okay, so I'm going to tell you what I think in a moment. I'm going to jump in now. Okay, and here's my moment. I'm speaking now, So you're already kind of not listening. You're half distracted by what you want to say and what you want to share, and how you would even rebuff. How would you contradict that person and push back? Or maybe you want to agree with them and you want to tell them how it feels for you, but none of that is listening. Active listening is what we were asking you to do in those pair exercises. Actually listen to people, and you really let it in, and the note taking makes you do that, because as I said very clearly, you have to be taking good notes, because you're going to have to talk in a bit. So that's a kind of One of the hidden layers of that exercise is training you to actively listen. And I would urge you, as we move forward with these projects, to try and continue that active listening to people you'll have these group conversations. And again, we've been trying to get you to go in turn, because then there's no opportunity to butt in. You have to wait till people finish. And I'm sure your conversations will be much more organic and flowing from here on in. But do try to actively listen, because it's magical, to be honest with you. It just changes the conversation. Cool. So I wanted to be quite explicit about that before we move on, because I think it's a really useful skill, and I think it'll serve you in the rest of the workshop. The other thing I wanted to reference was this book called The Lean Startup that I whizzed through. I showed a slide of this on the first day. It's one of the first books when the creative industries started analyzing what they were doing in the response to the digital shift, like, you know, in the first decade of this century, in the noughties. People started going, oh, right, we've been instinctively working like this. And there's a few concepts in this book that are really useful, I think. I'm just going to kind of flag. One is the notion of a minimum viable product. And many of you may know this concept. But the notion is that rather than trying to perfect something and really polish it and really, you know, create the most amazing thing and work a lot hard, but never show it to anybody because it's not finished. And you can't see it because you might not like it. I'm going to make it brilliant and it's going to be amazing. And now here it is. And now I show you it. And actually, I don't really want your opinion. I just want you to say, well done. That is kind of the old way of doing things. A minimum viable product is what's the very least work you can do to show this idea, to show this project, this product. So you, in internet terms, in software terms, you launch as soon as possible with a very buggy version possibly, but maybe you don't put it out there in the whole world, you just test it. And the idea is that you build and then you measure and then you learn, and then you build and you measure and you learn. And the more times you go around that, the better your project, the better your finished product will be. And that's also called an iterative loop. So the iteration is the more times you can repeat things. That's why you get 1.0 and 1.01 and 2.0 and things like that when you get upgrades, because the versions are always being improved. And a lot of this is very familiar to people who are producing software and coders and programmers. But I think we can take something from that too. I think the sooner you can put something in front of your peers within your groups, perhaps, and then a wider audience, which we're going to do in a moment. We're going to do it later on anyway. The more knowledge you get and the more useful that knowledge is. And then the final I mentioned briefly, and again, we'll probably come back to both of these concepts, is this is also from Eric Ries's book, and this is the vision strategy product pyramid. Of the conjoined triangles of the two triangles of conjoined success, I think it is. Do you watch Silicon Valley, Abby? Do you know that one? It's, what's the name of the guy, the character in Silicon Valley? I can't remember, never mind. If you don't watch Silicon Valley on HBO, I highly recommend it. And he comes up with this kind of weird diagram, one of the characters. But this is the real thing, I think. So vision is your desired change. Vision is your goal. Vision is what you want to do. So I used the example rather earlier of helping elderly people in urban cities, isolated urban people, and that would be a goal. And I think I mentioned having a T-shirt campaign, yeah, that will be a strategy. So your vision never changes. That's why it's at the bottom of the pyramid. So this organization is devoted towards improving the life of elderly people in urban areas. And your strategy could be a bunch of other stuff, but you choose a strategy. For in this case, it's developing a range of T-shirts, giving them away free, and then the product is that T-shirt. So I think I mentioned that the other day. But the point here is that the vision never changes. The strategy, which is what you are doing, how you are creating and what you're choosing to create, can sometimes change, and that's called a pivot. So it doesn't often change. It kind of, you want to explore that strategy to quite a large degree before you pivot. And maybe you won't pivot if you've got it right first time, but it occasionally changes. And then the product is always changing. You're always making a better t-shirt. You're always saying, oh, that could be better. This piece of code could be better. This platform could be better. You're always updating, but the vision never changes. I'm going to be asking you to nail down your visions later on, and indeed your strategies, and your product will be constantly changing. Okay, so that is a few things to think about, and I want to put them in your brain now so they percolate through. But we are now going to go into pitch mode as promised. The structural energy is coming into the room. That diamond is coming down. The deadline, I'm afraid, now. The mood boards are all done. They're all finished. And what's going to happen is that you're going to pitch your projects to each other. So we're going to put you into larger groups. We're going to combine, full disclosure, we're going to combine 3 client groups together, and you're going to pitch to your client group and 2 other client groups. And we're going to do that a series of breakout rooms because we have more than 3 client groups. This is the way it will go. You'll have a module staff member in each of these breakout rooms with you, and they will be sharing their screen, and they'll go into the Miro page, and they will move around each mood board in turn. And you see your mood board appear, the mood board that you created. It will be your turn to talk the whole breakout room through the project. And we'll do, I think it's going to be about 18 projects in each group. So we'll do 9, take a break, and then do another 9. That's the way we're going to do it. Now, each mood board will have 5 minutes to each persons. Please feel free to share the talk. We'll have up to 5 minutes. You don't need to take the full 5 minutes. You can simply just say, here's the idea. It's all very clear, I'm sure. There won't be questions. There won't be a dialogue. It's just, here's what we've got. Here's the idea. And then we'll move on to the next one. Listen to all the pitches. You're going to hear 18 pitches, each of you. I think there's one group that's got one less. That's not a problem. But listen to all the pitches, because you will be choosing which ones you want to work on later. And you may not be working on anything that came out of your client group. So please do listen to all 18 projects that you are being presented by fellow module participants. And good hearing. Think about them. Think about if you would work on them or not, and try and understand them. All righty. So if there aren't any other questions, and I'm going to pause for a moment and see if there are any questions in the channel, in the questions channel, I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and we will shortly move you into a breakout room with 2 other client groups and your client group, and we will come in as well. I'm going to go into one, and Abby's going to go into another, and there's Tim and Adelaide in the other 2, and we'll go for it. Abby, have I forgotten anything?
No, I'd just like to say, I think this is like right, again, we're restarting that diamond here. So we're right at the beginning of these projects almost again. So don't worry too much about this. This is not your TED talk that was going to be displayed forever. This is a little quick pitch to kind of just get that, really try and nail your vision and get that across, and hopefully people will want to join you guys on the project. But yeah, if you feel like you want to abandon ship when it comes to later on, totally fine, but stick with it now, do your presentation, and yeah, good luck. I'm excited to see some of them as well. So let's have a look if we've got any questions. I haven't got any.
Hang on for some questions, actually. And yeah, great point, Abby. These ideas will change very quickly. They really will. So regard them as starting points, and obviously they're starting points because you have only spent a couple of hours mood boarding them, and although I know you've got some great ideas in there. So yeah. All righty, we're going to pause for a moment while we wait for your questions. I see none currently. If there aren't any questions, we will go in a moment, and I'm very happy to do that as well. Yeah, as I say, we will see some of you shortly in that case. Feels like we got a wrap here, and we've got quite a lot of pitches to get through, so I'm going to suggest we go for it. Hang on a second. I see that there is someone typing. I'm in that zone where someone is typing, and I can see Medina has a question. It hasn't come through yet. You got anything at your end?
No, nothing on my end. No, I'll just double check in the channels.
All right, Medina, I'm on tenterhooks waiting for your question. And it's gone.
No pressure, yeah.
I'm sorry, Medina, I'm pressuring you. Yeah, here we go. How many people will present mood board if 3 people made it? Great question, Medina. Up to you. Please do whatever you want. If 1 person presents it, that's fine by us. If all 3 of you want to say stuff, that's us. The only restriction you have is that you need to get it all done in 5 minutes. But if you do it in 1 minute, that's also fine. So Medina, just if any one of you wants to speak, or all 3 of you, that's absolutely fine. I hope that answers your question.
And we'll ask you guys to turn your cameras on and everyone else's off, so that you guys can be center stage during the process too. So even if you don't end up speaking in your group and you nominate someone to speak, it'd be great to see your faces throughout the presentation. And
yeah, that's a really good point, Ali. Sorry to interrupt you. Yeah, please turn your cameras on when you're presenting your mood boards. I mentioned that before. Absolutely.
Oh, I've got one being written. There you go. How many people in total on this course? A lot at this point. Over a lot of people. So that's why we're kind of crunching these into different sections, so you guys can not sit through maybe 6 hours of pictures. So quite a few.
All will be revealed later, but let's focus on the pictures now. But thank you for the question. I would want to know as well, possibly. But yeah, we've got you in the right size groups. There's been a lot of maths going on. So yes, we feel this is the best way to do it. And yeah, absolutely. Everyone's going to see everybody at some point, don't worry. Great. All right, I think we should do it. I will see you in a breakout room, hopefully some of you, and so will Abby. And let's go pitch.
Name, just make sure everyone's here. So just chill out, like as Abby and Fred said, 5 minutes to present. If you can all leave your cameras on when it's your group, that would be super helpful. Or if you've planned it so everyone's speaking, that's even more awesome. But yeah, we should have Fred in the room in a minute. He's making his way over from Fuse, so we'll give him a little bit of time.
Yeah. Oh man,
it's exciting.
Get everyone together. Yeah, some of the boards look insane.
Yeah, they look so good. Well done, everybody.
Absolutely smashed it
for pulling those all together. I'm so excited.
I remember doing this last year, and it was just a bit. Well, it's a lot to take in a day, but you know, everyone seems to handle it amazingly well.
Yeah, so I remember this day really well. When I did it, I just wanted to talk forever. Talk for ages about my board. Like not like me, is it? Chatty Cathy.
No.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's going to be really good.
Yeah, no pressure.
I don't know whether I prefer to do it on the because I did it physically with like magazines and stuff. But it's quite nice having the freedom to like get whatever pictures you want as well.
I was in a group of 5 and I was only one from Glasgow, so I was on my own standing up next to a whiteboard trying to present something, and I looked so lost. I was like a little lost child in a supermarket. So
I don't believe that.
Well, you know, you don't know, but yeah, yeah, that was that was pretty scary. But I think I don't know. Just depends
It's
what you
good.
like, I guess.
It's good.
It's strange kind of being on here, but I guess we'll have to get used to it.
I think we're just waiting for a couple more people. It's going to take a bit of time. As you can imagine, there are so many of us. I mean, this is only a third of the group, I think. So yeah, just bear with, and we will. I'm gonna share some of Fred's tunes that he has kindly given us. Can you hear that, Aidan?
What?
Nothing. My music.
No, I cannot.
Okay.
How dare you listen to music? Shocking. Okay. Yes. Got a full team. My whole team's here. Brilliant. Look at that. They're so fast. They're so quick. Just so seamless. It's making my life so easy. Oh, love it.
I'm going to check my team. I'm sure they are all here. Da, 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 da.
It's funny seeing everyone. This is because like we've only been kind of like with our little group. I mean, not little. It's still quite big, but it's funny seeing so many different faces, so many people.
Fred's trying to make a really big entrance, I can tell. He's just like waiting to kind of like walk through the curtains and be like, bam.
He'll just jump on and we'll just move to the side. We become lesser beings at that point.
He'll just raise
folks.
from here he is.
Yeah,
Sorry, mate. Apologies, just getting the tech together. Got lots of lovely participants. Great. All right. Let's just crack on, I think. We'll do 9 of these. And I am going to share my screen right now. Now, I'm used to. Let's have a go. So as soon as I share a screen, you'll see a mood board. If you made it, you got 5 minutes. And everyone else should turn their cameras off. So why don't we all turn our cameras off now, in fact. Let's just do that. All right. So everyone's got their cameras off. And, yeah, mute your microphones. Whoever's mood board this is, when you see it, if it's your mood board, turn your camera on and your microphone on and tell us all about it. Here we go. So I have just shared my screen. Hopefully you can now see a screen that says Mish L, pairing, sharing and caring. And your 5 minutes. Are you there? First of all, let's get the team up. Are you there?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I can indeed. Fantastic. Okay. So you've got 5 minutes and that 5 minutes starts now. Go for it.
Okay, so the idea that we had was being paired up with somebody from the other end of the world throughout your education to be able to learn from each other. And over to you, Elle.
Yes, the idea is that so like as when you're a young person in education, like you don't really have much connection with other sides of the world, and like the idea is that if from an early age people had a connection, it's equivalent of like a learning pen pal with someone across the world, then it's sort of from a young age instill the idea of crossing cultures and everyone being more involved with each other. And also because different countries may have different ways of learning the same thing and may have sort of little tips and tricks to learn. Sort of, there's some things like in maths where someone, like I know in Japanese culture, they use their hands in different ways to work out multiplication. So it's little things like that that might not be in the curriculum over here, but could help each other to learn.
We also thought it'd be really interesting to like if you had a virtual classroom and there was like somebody doing a lesson in one classroom which another classroom across another part of the world, for example, a maths lesson that was being taught in Africa was being shared with students in the UK, and then vice versa. So you can see how different people learn different ways, and then also look at the resources that are available, because we suspected that there's some places that will have more resources and better quality books or even computers, etc., versus others, and how we can break down those barriers and make learning more accessible.
Great, very clear to me. You've still got a bit of time if you want it, but no need. But anything else you want to say?
Guess we'll keep it simple.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, it's a very clear idea. Great. All righty. So now you get a round of applause. Hey. Thank you so much. Very good. Well done. And now, so if everyone is turning the cameras off, and now we go to the next project. Here we go. I will press the button. Oh, no, I won't. Hang on. What's going on? Here we go. Try that. Off. There we go. We have the storytellers. So could the people who are responsible for this project...
Hey, we're here.
Great. You want to turn your camera on?
Hello. Turn my camera on.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you. Just so we can see you.
So can I start?
Yeah, great. Go for it. Sorry, I couldn't see you there. Okay, your 5 minutes starts now.
Okay, so our idea is storytelling space where people can enter and using different mediums such as art, film, creative writing, VR experience, and their feelings and emotions express what they want to tell to the world or to the humanity. We think about this space as a mobile and pop-up, so you can arrange and rearrange it. Also, who can tell the stories? It's about for all people who have something to share. Also, we welcome disabled people, refugees, and people struggling with mental health. We use different mediums, as I said, as storytelling. Even people can bring masks as emojis to show that, to share their experience using. And in terms of space itself, we think about it as a box, so pop-up box space, where you can enter. There can be many people or one people who are developing it. Molly, it's your turn.
Yeah, so we kind of went through different ways that stories can be told visually, and we thought back to really old cave paintings that people could translate their stories into something like this. We thought about color and emotion and creating different installations or exhibitions out of people's stories, like theatre and dance or other ways that people's stories could be shared and then turned into something visual.
And we also thought about how people could differently engage in the stories of others through art. Like, for example, if someone would tell you a story, you could meanwhile log your reactions with emojis or connect colors to it, and then later onwards have a artwork made out of it, so that it's a bit similar with the active listening, but maybe just have it combined with art, that you connect differently to people's stories.
Great. You have paused, so you've still got plenty of time if you want it. But again, I'm very clear on it. But is there anything else you'd like to say?
I think it's still quite open, that idea, and it can go into a lot of different directions. But yeah.
And also we have their amazing periodic table of storytelling. I actually find it so interesting. Girls found it.
Great research there. Yeah, I see that. Cool, but yeah, and as you say, Marie, it is still open, and that's cool. That's absolutely fine. Okay, so it feels like you're done. Am I right? Great, fantastic. Thanks so much. Very good. Excellent. Great project. Okay, so if you want to turn your cameras off, that'd be great. And we will go to the next project. Here we go. What's going to come up? Oh, I keep pressing the button. It doesn't work, but it will work in a moment. Here we go. Off. Whose project is this? And I'm sure you're all doing this already. I have got a little side tab with faces coming up. Maybe you've got somewhere different, but there is, if you can't see people's faces when they're pitching, there is a way to do it. So,
okay, that's me and Sherry.
Say again.
It's Jay, me, and Sherry.
Oh, great! You're the people whose project it is.
Yeah.
Fantastic, and you've got your cameras on. I can see you there. Fantastic. All yours. Go for it.
Okay. Well, we had a long sort of text-based discussion on the task, which was looking at systems, particularly for donating the same amount of food that you buy when you go shopping through some kind of means. And we looked at why that might be necessary. And we looked at sort of global problems with food shortages to do with war, famine, disease, things that we could probably do little about on our own, and also poor wealth distribution impacting globally and quite specifically in some wealthier countries. And we looked at systems that were already in place, such as food banks. Sherry found a book which she might be able to say more about at the end of this. We thought that there was a lot of evidence of the kind of things that people needed through the kinds of lists that you see put out by food banks asking for certain things. We could use the data that's already around, and we looked at ways we could perhaps encourage wealthy people to feel more comfortable about parting with what they have. We had sort of vague discussions around how we might actually implement this through apps, things like that. We talked about the transportation of food not being very effective around the globe. So those were all issues that we came up with. So we didn't come up with a system, but we certainly came up with a lot of the issues involved. And I don't know if Sherry would like to say some more about that.
Yes, this book, actually I want to add a little bit some information about the book Food Worth Writing For. I just would like to say this is a basic research from academic studies. It's to support our project is worth to be finished in the future. As this book mentioned about the history between from past to now, how the food transportation and food safety and food shortage problems in all over the world, and which also suggests that the spread of the food rot is still very much alive today, and a lot of charity about the food bank and some other organizations focus on food shortages in supermarket, in restaurant, and other in our daily life. So it's our basic information and statistics. And statistics to support our further research about this project. Yes, finished.
Great. Well, that all feels very clear to me. You've got a very defined thing there. You've still got a little bit of time. You've got just over a minute. Is there anything else you want to say?
Okay. Maybe about this idea. Actually, particular focus on online back app design, because we have a lot of feedback for now, particularly for West countries, and so we would like to extend this kind of organization to globally. We would like to use online back like application to reorganize the food to the poor people, and they can have have a equal discuss and clearly buy or get some food from this app, and the people also can donate food by this app. So like that, it's maybe more quickly and more modernly for now. In now technology and technological and modern society. Yes.
Yeah, I hear you. Your online button there is very, very kind of clear. So yeah, I think we that's fine. So yeah, brilliant. Thank you for adding to that. Okay, brilliant. Thank you so much. Another round of applause. I'd like to turn off your cameras now. That would be great. And we will go on to the next project. Who is it going to be? Let's find out. Boff. Here we are. Let's zoom in a little bit now. Whose project is this? Turn your cameras and microphones on, please. Hey, hello. So,
yeah.
All yours. Are you ready to go?
Project. Yeah, sure.
Right, you're on. 5 minutes.
I think someone is going to talk before me.
So our project, we were trying to tackle like food miles and lower carbon footprint. So we wanted to solve the problem that non-seasonal veg creates. So sourcing food that's sourced overseas obviously creates high food miles, and food that is produced when it isn't in season also creates higher carbon emissions, because you're trying to heat a space and you're trying to create a certain environment in order to grow the food. So I think Ione is going to explain how we're going to try and tackle that problem.
Yeah, so our concept makes it easy to know what products are the most sustainable. So it talks about like what products are local, or if you can't get that product locally, what are the most sustainable, taking into account other factors like packaging and food miles. So it could be an app or something that connects to online shopping already. So for example, you go into your supermarket app and it highlights which ones are local produce or have a lower packaging or lower food miles, so you can make a more informed decision. Or it could even be an initiative that happens in a physical store, some way of highlighting what's more sustainable. So yes, so the benefits of it, that could also be like personalized to different diets, like vegetarian, or if you're lactose intolerant or something, so that it could form a basket that's specifically for you, that's kind of the most sustainable products that you could choose.
Yeah, thanks, Ella. This is Manoj. I would like to add that our vision is to create through a smart basket a sustainable society, make people conscious about their buying choices. And through this platform, we want to offer local produce the customers. That's the vision we have.
Great, thank you, team. You've got a little bit of time left, but again, I'm certainly understanding that. If there's anything you want to add?
I think so.
Great. Well, in that case, well, very good. Thanks so much. Excellent. And these are all great pictures, folks. It's a little bit weird, isn't it? I've been doing this all week, but you guys are getting into talking into the space, and you're doing a brilliant job. So well done. Great. Okay, so who is next? Let's find out. If you want to turn your camera off. I think I only still got your camera on. And we will, oh, no, again, there we go, boff. I must stop saying boff when I press the button. Whose mood board is this? Turn your cameras on. Hello, hello.
Hi.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Are you ready to go?
Yep.
Great, your 5 minutes starts now.
So the idea is that we always have a lot of materials and packaging at home that we don't know exactly what to do with. So we just throw it away. When in fact we can actually use the materials and the packaging we have to create other things that we actually need. So the idea behind the app is that it gives you suggestions based on the materials you have and the interest and the stuff that you're interested in. And it gives you also tutorials to turn the materials you have into other objects that you would be interested in. And my team is going to take you through the mood board.
So if you look at the mood board, we kind of take in only the household materials, the things that you generally use on a day-to-day basis. They can be repurposed for a new function. So we have seen how plastic bottles can be repurposed to make flower pots, or how the egg cartons can be used for plant seeds. Then we make sure that you can do, it should be easy enough that a person can do it on their own. And we harness the power of the internet to show you videos or step-by-step guides. And in the end, the main goal we want to reach is to protect and preserve the environment. And Emo will talk more about that.
Yeah, sure. Cause for now, we produce a lot of waste every day, and we just mix it all the waste together and throw it away, or put the recycle things in the recycling bins. But I don't think this is done very well now, because we don't really sort the recycling things well, and we don't know where the recycling goes to. So we often confuse about the different kinds of materials we produce every day, like the waste. So we want to create this platform to use the waste directly to create something more and save the energy and make the things more sustainable. Yeah. That's all.
Okay, very clear, I think. And yeah, you've still got a bit of time, but it sounds like you're done. So I will say well done. Fantastic. Great pitch.
Thank you.
Very good. Okay. We're getting through these. So let's see who's next. There we are. Okay. Who do we have in this team? Please turn the camera on. Hi. Ready to go?
Yes.
Is the rest of your team around, or is it just you?
I'll do the talking.
Okay, that's great. Your 5 minutes starts now.
Cool. So our idea is use the AI to predict the possible outcomes of our decision making. So basically, we think this is a promising and useful idea, because there's already computer programs that are like doing planning things, and they they defeat a human. For example, the Human Go computer program that plays board game, and it recently just defeat the best board game player. And another aspect, we think this is a promising industry, because AI has already been everywhere in our life, and they already started planning everything for like things for us, not everything. But so currently we have AI help with the stock trading, and and also the visualizing the future, possible future. For example, the pictures in the right corner. So it's actually people already start benefiting from it, but in the future there will be more like consumer level. So every individual can use the AI to help with their decision making. So which means this idea is kind of like helping AI help people's mind to do the time travel. Is like, but there's several concerns that we have. For example, the AI already started planning things for you, and sometimes it can be it's not you thinking, it's not you making this decision. Is the AI helping you to like make you choose that decision? For example, like for the recent year, there's a news about the Facebook. So the Facebook is actually using of their user data and make use of it to make their users feels like they want to elect Trump for the American election. So it's actually influenced the American election result. So that's the thing that we concern that will happen in this. And that's all.
Great. Again, you've still got a bit of time. Do the other members of your team want to say anything? I mean, again, it's very clear, I think, more nice speculative one. But anything else to add?
Yeah, I'm adding something here. Like we jot down some key points, like why we need it. So we thought that like being prepared for future. So like, and maybe, minimal usage of resources, because when you try on a physical medium, you go for hit and trial method. If you know the possible outcomes in advance, so you don't need to waste so much of resources around. And then maybe kind of understanding what we have to be like, suppose something which is like there are 2-3 options and you have to choose one, and all of them are not so good, so which will be the least harmful, so we can be prepared for possible outcomes. So something like that. So we thought that this could be an interesting area to tap into.
Great. Again, I think I was, very clear, and that's a really good point to add. So if you are done, sounds like you are. Fantastic. Thanks so much. Very good. Okay. Let's go on to the next one. There we go. So could the people who made this please turn their cameras on? Hello, hello. And are you ready to go?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
So our concept, was making art education more accessible in rural areas. So we just sort of worked through like who we thought it would be for and where it would be accessible and things like that. So we're thinking of like a young adult or adult event that would be like casual and you could bring your own teas and coffees, and we're thinking of what we could make or create that people would want to like participate in. And we thought if it was like going through like the whole of the UK, like everyone in the UK loves tea, and it would be quite easy to make like cups of tea, like make a wee mug for tea. So we're thinking of putting it in like a bus that will travel all through rural parts of the UK from Scotland to England,
but it could also be replicated and adjusted for other countries. So maybe the vehicle would change for the terrain, or it would be a sort of a different object that was more relevant to a different culture. It probably lasts about 3 to 4 days. Just if it was to be making like a mug, it would need to be sculpted and then blasted. So we're thinking of like a day for sculpture and then a day for decorating it, and then a final day where you could actually like celebrate and have a cup of tea with everyone.
So like the idea with this as well is that it's like using as much creative expression as possible by taking something that is really simple to make, like objectively I suppose, like, and just allowing yourself to actually go a bit wild with it. So I think there'd be a lot more lessons in like what influences you and what can you take from this, rather than, because like coming from somewhere rural, like there would be like little workshop classes, but all the things would end up looking the same or be very like shabby chic. And we want to do something that isn't patronizing and instead is something that makes you think. And it is that idea of like a mug, because at the end of the day, it's something that you get to hold, you get to like have and keep for yourself, but also we had this wee idea, like at the end of the week, like everyone like drinks out of their mug, like it could be like a BYOB thing, like everyone has white wine out their new mugs and everyone watches Ghost because of that like little like clay making scene or something like that. But it is that idea of like getting community folk together, and there can be a idea of those in much more derelict areas and areas where there is like very little opportunity. This is like a time for them to just learn about creative expression. So like there'd be an emphasis on like artists and designers that like think out the box with their clay or with their materials, and encouraging the use of like using the outer parts. So like, you know, encourage them to like, you know, it doesn't have to just be clay, you can also incorporate some of the mud or some of the grass or other like different methods of it. So yeah, it's just the idea of like, what can you do with your area and what can you do with your land, and how can you think outside the box and just think, okay, let's do something that is a bit different but still functional. So yeah.
Great. Again, very clear. You've got a little bit of time left if you want it, but that all sounds very well explained. So I'm going to guess that you're done. Thank you so much. Okay, we're going to do 2 more and then we will take a 5-minute break. So here we go. The next one. Who is this? Please turn on your camera if this is your project. Thank you very much. Hello, hello. Are you ready to go with your 5 minutes?
Yes, we are.
Let's do it. Off you go.
I'm going to be presenting together with Sushmita and Anna, but before we start, I need to make a mention about some trigger warnings, as our idea concerns attempted assaults and domestic violence and also sexual violence. So if you don't feel like you're able to handle that today, maybe come back in 5 minutes. So the main idea is around assault prevention, its registration, and also support for its survivors. And after talking with Sushmita and Anna, we kind of decided that's probably the easiest to make in the form of an app, as that's kind of the most accessible and also allows privacy, inclusivity, and all that. So to follow, its main 2 features that would be kind of creating communal security, which would basically be creating a safety system in public spaces, which Anna will discuss in detail, followed by Sushmita talking about the other feature, which will be working against stigmas that violence happens only in public places, and all aspects of that, and domestic aspects of that. So handing over to Anna, please.
Hello. Okay, I just have some notes because I know I'm going to stumble. But the purpose is to create a connected and secure community where people can seek and provide help anonymously. And there would be many features that we've come up with. And these are some of them. So we would have a map of safe walking routes. So specifically at nighttime, you could check a map and you would know where there are, maybe it's a main street, so you know that, you know, you're safest. An online mode, we don't know if we'd call it that, but something along those lines, where people can, verified members can offer availability to track people who may feel unsafe, and be ready to pick up a phone call and talk to the person on the street or just track their location. An emergency button to send your location to members of your family and give you really quick and easy access to the police or any other services that might be able to help you with a situation like that. And we would have emergency kits around communities that would be able to aid you if you had been attacked, and possibly be able to secure like tips on to secure evidence of an attack. So those are the main features that we would have on the app for the community side. And a few other things that I quite like the idea of was maybe training some of these verified members to be able to deal with these distress calls and possibly even go out and help someone, so that everyone feels safe in helping other people. And also we would build profiles of frequent attackers and in certain spaces and areas that maybe the police could use to be able to tackle those attackers. Yeah, that's me. And on to Sushmita for the more at-home based part of the app. Yeah.
So leads to the where a lot of assaults and violence will happen in our home. It's not always the streets where the violence takes place. Sometimes it's hidden behind the door, and people in those cases are really scared of speaking about it. How do they express themselves? So this app, they can look for people who are in the neighborhood experiencing the same thing or have overcome with the same experience and know how to figure out this thing. So there are so many people who might seek help from this. One more additional thing that I would like to add here is, since we are creating a database, so it can make a roadmap of secure roads. So if you're traveling at midnight, it can guide you the safest road in the town to walk through and get to the place where you want. Thank you.
Great. Again, you've got a tiny bit left of time, but it feels like you're done to me. Right. Okay. Fantastic. Yeah. Oh, sorry.
No, don't worry. I was just going to clarify that maybe also in the kind of domestic part of it, it would create a community where you can find also support groups in your area and access a helpline, 24/7 helpline. It would all be kind of included in the app as well. Yeah, and I think an also important thing is the security of the information. So, for example, all the information will be secured by a password, for example, so that you feel safe with sharing of the information. So yeah, I guess that's us. Thank you very much for listening.
Fantastic, Cassia, and that's exactly 5 minutes. So anyone who's stepped out will now be stepping back in. Perfect time. Great. All right, and I haven't applauded you so much. Great. Okay, we got one more, then we'll take a 5-minute break. And that person is, or that team rather is, oh, so smooth. There we go. Who is this? Who would like to present this?
Hello.
Hello.
That's me and Kelly. Kelly, are you here?
Fantastic. Are you ready to go?
Yeah, I think we are.
Let's do it. 5 minutes. Here we go.
Okay, so our project is tackling unconscious biases and implicit associations, which are unconsciously held biases, stereotypes that influence our behavior, even if we consciously endorse different values and beliefs. And occur when people favor others who look like them and share their values. For example, a person may be drawn to someone with similar educational backgrounds from the same area or who is the same color and ethnicity as them. This is completely unintentional. We do it without knowing this, and we learn it in the process of socialization. And this influences our behaviors towards others in our personal as well as professional lives. And there are tests at the moment that everyone can take to assess their unconscious biases, such as Harvard's implicit association test. Yet it takes around half an hour to take one, and it just tests you for one unconscious bias. So I would recommend you to do it anyway, but then it takes a long time to do it, and it's quite a commitment. So how about if we have an algorithm that does it automatically? if it could check what we write in the same way that Grammarly checks what we write for spelling mistakes, it would check it for unconscious biases. And then it could give us tips and tools how to adjust this automatic patterns of thinking. So this way, we with no effort, we would identify our biases, and being aware of them, we could ultimately eliminate these discriminatory behaviors. Over to Kelly.
Yeah, that was really well said. So basically, yeah, just promoting more self-awareness is the purpose of it, and just gradually getting more and more people into this space to have these kinds of conversations and realize how they contribute to racial discrimination and different prejudices that we're struggling with in today's society. And in terms of visuals, I was inspired. One of the videos I watched compared unconscious bias to like getting dealt cards, and how when you get a hand of cards, like you pick up the cards, you automatically start judging your hand based on your prior knowledge. So yeah, there's some pictures of cards and webs to kind of start visualizing what this could look like if it was to turn into an app or something like that, and just a good visual for people to understand better how our brains process these unconscious biases. Yeah,
exactly.
Great. Again, you've got a little bit more time if you want it. Again, very clear. Anything else you want to add?
No, I think that's it.
Yeah.
And the only thing I would add is that we're thinking either of a format of an app or a plugin that works the same way as Grammarly. It just is in the background in your browser.
Yep.
Fantastic. Got that. Great editing. Thank you so much. Very good.
Thanks.
Okay. Continue applause. So as promised, we're now going to take a 5-minute break. So just stay exactly where you are. Don't leave the breakout room. Don't leave the call. Stay exactly where you are. But just, I'm going to mute my microphone. I'm going to come back here at 7 minutes past. So we'll see you all back here at 7 minutes past. Just get up, walk around, 5-minute break. All right, folks. Hope that's clear. See you in 5.
this will make the entire experience more interactive. For example, we can have art that's focused on interacting with the audience.
Cause a lot of respiratory issues with the population. So that's what we're trying to fix with this idea. So I'm going to move on to and there's more benefits as well. Like I've got a diagram here from Valuing London's Urban Forest, a report that London did, and the possibility endless. Trees increase biodiversity and habitat. They store carbon, as I've said. They can be an urban food forest. Aesthetically, they're great. They assist recovery with people's wellness and being, and they're good for stormwater retention as well. So if there's a big storm, there's less runoff. So I'm going to move on, pass it over to Katerina to talk about new life and establishing a connection.
Yeah, so we quite like the idea of new life and nature being tied together. And so whether that be either governments committing to plant based on how many people are born, or maybe in the private sector and more commercial side, people using trees as a way to welcome new children into the world. So tactically, either through baby showers or as gifts to new and expecting mothers, this would be a great way to connect with the people who are kind of part of this movement. And then we thought of like apps that could help you locate the tree that specifically was planted in your honor or because of your existence kind of. In terms of children, we thought this would be great ways to like assign responsibility to kids and kind of see your own plant exist in the world. There's also various benefits to mental health for engaging with nature. And yeah, just bringing a closer tie between people and plants and kind of feeling responsibility for what's happening. And by having something that's out there and kind of in your honor, you might be more inclined to take care of the world in general.
Yeah, just to add to that, so if a new tree, just one new tree was planted per every person born in the UK, so about 600,000 people born in the UK last year, and the UK is like really far behind in its tree planting program, and they're planting about 2 million trees, but it's still really far behind the number that they want, just to give UK as an example. So if you had another 600,000 trees, it would make a huge difference over a number of years. So yeah, assigning sort of tree or number of trees or plants to people over the world will give them that sort of maybe that connection with the environment, and yeah, being able to find your tree with and that really sort of establish that connection. But then, so moving on to the question of urban and rural, me and Catherine discussing this. So whether you'd have these trees or plants planted in a city, and if it was a city, you'd have more impact on pollution in that place, but there's less available space in the city. So maybe have to get creative where trees and plants could go. And I know a lot of cities already do that with sort of urban living walls, or whether we plant these things in a forest, or a national forest, or a people's forest that people could go to, find the tree, and just experience the forest as a place. An example of this is Kielder Forest in the UK, which was built because there was a shortage of wood in the UK after the war, and it's sort of this man-made massive forest. But yeah, the idea I think we'd have was to give a tree to each person.
Yeah, and then this kind of started as like a UK-centric idea, but we thought of ways that it could expand globally. And so we were thinking, first of all, the distribution of forests and how plants are taken care of is a lot of the pressure and responsibility is put on the global south. So distributing that responsibility into the rest of the world, it also reduces when they're—
That is your time, but just finish up there. That's cool. Go.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we were just thinking of different ways to assign responsibility to everyone, being that we're all benefiting from it. And this could also take different iterations to adapt to other ecosystems. So if trees aren't the case, maybe some other plants.
Gotcha. Great. Very comprehensive. Thank you so much. Okay. Who do we have next?
Hi.
Hi there. How's it going? Turn your
Good,
camera
thank you.
I see you. I see you. I'll get there in the end, I'm sure. There we go. Hello, hello. Are you ready to begin?
Yes, Joanna, do you want to start?
All right, you're now.
Oh, Joanna, you're on mute.
Sorry. So our idea was...
I'm going to restart your timer just because I feel like it. There we go. You're off. 5 minutes starts.
Thank you. So our idea was to create international education to fight the prejudices and to raise awareness of social experiences of LGBT community. And it turned out that our countries that we come from have totally opposite attitudes towards LGBT rights. For example, in Poland, the ruling conservative party is constantly violating LGBT rights, literally saying that it's an ideology and politicians using hate speech towards LGBT people for political gain, promoting hatred and violence.
And then, yeah, in Scotland, we are currently the first country in the world to embed LGBTQ education into the curriculum, which is really, really positive. And even like my experience growing up, I could kind of see that this was coming in. Like we had this thing called Rights Respecting Schools as well, which was about sort of discussing human rights in general. And so I guess our kind of tactic with this international education, it could be not necessarily focused on LGBTQ issues, but it's more about tolerance teaching. And we kind of aim to contextualize the education based on the historical experiences in the countries. So like, for example, Joanna was saying how the Polish leader right now, he's comparing LGBTQ to communism, and communism sort of brings up a lot of bad memories for the people in Poland. And so having sort of that association then gives a negative association to LGBTQ plus people. And I guess that's kind of ties into the idea that people aren't necessarily naturally hateful. Sometimes it's just you're a product of your environment. And I guess our teaching tactic would be to like understand that it's not necessarily your fault that you have these views, but everyone is capable of change and just of accepting each other. And so maybe we could this is all it's very open idea, it's quite up in the air, but maybe we could sort of adapt the way that we talk about the country's history and sort of understand why people feel that way, or also thinking about religious education and how sometimes that can be quite biased and can end up being quite anti-LGBT. And so maybe offering different points of view there. Also, it might end up being like a kind of digital platform as well, where you can like use the resource to like choose your country and have country-specific knowledge there. Like, for example, there's a lot of websites at the moment that have like world maps. We've popped it on the mood board there, where you can like see each country's sort of rules and regulations about LGBTQ people. So maybe it could be something like that, and you could compare your country to another one to see different ways of doing it. And it would also be a way to like encourage an open discussion where people with opposing views would feel free to express those views, but also learn to understand, to be respectful of other views as well. And perhaps this education could be sort of adapted depending on the age demographic. So it would be good to really have this like integrated into schools across the world, but also it's important to educate the older generations. And so maybe on the online platform that might work out.
Great, very clear. You've got a little bit of
Thank
time
you.
left, but it feels like, are you done? I think you are.
Yeah,
so I'm going to
so.
say, well done. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, next up we have this project. Who do we have here? Please turn your cameras on.
Hello.
Hello.
It's me and Amy.
Great. Okay, and are you ready to go?
I think so.
All right, you're on. 5 minutes now.
Let's start.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so our idea is really playful, but rooted in something that we really believe in, which is that it is basically immoral to be rich. So the main inspiration was a game that's already existing, but it's a browser game where you wake up and you are Jeff Bezos, the owner of Amazon, and you have this incredible amount of money that you just cannot spend. And that while you try and spend this money, you kind of realize how stupid it is to have this much money, and how crazy it is that in this world right now, like 8 people have the equivalent of half of the rest of the world in wealth. So our idea was to make a board game where you play and you try to be ethical while you're making money. And it's meant to make you realize that it's simply not possible, and whatever you do is going to be unethical. And this is by different things that can happen while you play. And Amy, do you want to pick up from here?
Yeah, so like we made these 2 chance cards, so it would probably be like some kind of like anti-monopoly kind of game. We didn't really figure out the actual like logistics of it, but we made these like fake chance cards that where you can kind of see like an example of what the game would be like. So if you save money, you're doing something unethical, so you move forward. But if you want to do something unethical, but you're losing money by doing that, you go backwards, and you kind of realize like you literally can't make money, like that much money, without doing something that's unethical kind of thing. And then we've got this choose your fighter at the bottom, where these are kind of like the people that you'd be playing as, and you'd have like examples and like based on like the facts of their actual wealth and stuff, and like examples of how much money they actually kind of have. Yeah, and
And the thing is, we'd really like it to be realistic in the sense that these people, the fighters there, really have these amount of wealth. It's not like we want to support this with proper research and also make the equivalent of the money you're spending in the game with things that are actually happening and real, that could be just solved from one day to the next and are not, because wealth is just piled up somewhere by these people. And it's like kind of thought-provoking, but not, shaming, just addressing the situation that should not be like this and could change right now, but just doesn't.
Yeah, so it's kind of like, it's like factual, but also like satirizing the whole conception of being a billionaire. Yeah, mixing the 2 together to kind of like open, like start conversations about it and make it more like a big issue in people's minds to start thinking about. Yeah.
could be physical, could be online, maybe like Truths and Ladders, maybe like Monopoly, but yeah, a game so that people can play and learn by playing.
Great. I think they call that edutainment or something, don't they? Anyway, fantastic. Feels like you're done, but you've got a little time left if you want.
No, I think we're done.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. Okay, next up we have this project. Who do we have for this project? Hi there. How's it going?
Good, thank you.
You ready to go?
Yeah.
Right, your 5 minutes starts now.
So we were looking at the idea of defensive architecture. So if you don't know what that is, it's when people put like spikes in the ground, you know, outside of shops, or it could be like an awkwardly shaped bench. And the sort of aim of it is to stop, one example is to stop homeless people being able to take shelter. So as you can see on the right, there's already been quite a lot of retaliation against this. So this bench that says find shelter here is by Canadian designers, and it's sort of doing the exact opposite and encouraging people to use the space. And there's also people who have made a sort of design against humanity website that makes the whole thing bigger, so it doesn't have to just be defensive architecture, but there's sort of design crimes, so any sort of hostile designs should be banned basically. And we were sort of looking at what the future might look like. So there's some really cool projects that have made sort of anti-defensive architecture outfits so that people can get around it. And I was trying to look at different ways that you could tackle this project. So there's different ways of campaigning and challenging through design. So at the bottom left, you can see like Greenpeace skydiving, the BLM sort of painting on the streets. So I think it's a really good opportunity to do sort of guerrilla interventions, and you can be quite playful about it. And yeah, I think Chang is going to say a bit about what causes the phenomenon, if she's here.
Okay. And we also do a lot of research, try to figure out why there are so many defensive architectures in our city. And it's obviously that based on this question, the society can be divided into two groups. One is the homeless and the other is the residents. And we can see that there are many common use of public facilities, such as public restaurants, public transportation, and restroom, etc. And we can see that the two groups of people have different lifestyles, which brings conflicts to each other's lives. And without the outside help, the homeless could not, it's difficult for them to survive healthily. And they lead a life respect rather than excessive enthusiasm, which might bother them. So I think there is not a need to raise the awareness of public about the hostile architectures, but also maybe to create a new model in which the homeless and the residents can survive or can live in harmony. And then maybe to enhance their mutual understanding and put the relationship between each other closer together. I think that's it. Anything else, Helena?
No, I think we've covered it.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Very clear. For you. Thanks very much. Fantastic stuff. All righty. We've got a few more of these to go. And this is the next one. Here we go. Who do we have here? Hello, hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Are you ready to go?
Yes.
Yes.
5 minutes starts now.
So our project comes from the idea that with global issues cutting across disciplines, a great number of institutions have promoted collaboration between artists, scientists, designers, engineers to create technologies on like solutions that enable people to understand and transform their lives, communities, and environments. And we believe, and Modual is a great example, that the future needs collaborative action to solve the greatest challenges of humanity. However, these collaborations are usually embedded and limited to organizations, scientific research centers, cultural institutions, or like corporate organizations. And great examples could be the Media Lab at MIT, the Science Gallery Network, or like the Wellcome Trust. So while these places are great, like these collaborations are usually limited by the funding of these institutions, or limited to an amount of public grants with usually restricted access to the general public.
Yeah, now I'll talk a bit more about the practical, how we'd make this work. So this would be either a platform or an app inspired by apps like the Dots and Daisy. The aim would be to connect people, not just artists, but also engineers, scientists, citizens, who also are creative and have loads of innovative ideas. So users would post their background, their skills, their interests, and also any kind of projects that they want to develop that they've come up with. There would be two main purposes of this platform or app: for people to post ideas or projects that they've come up with and they want to find collaborators or maybe want advice on their project, or also to create forums for people to discuss ideas, so people with common interests and passions can kind of bounce off each other and develop projects from there. So an example could be, say I'm a graphic designer and want to develop an idea, but it requires the intervention of a chemist to execute it. So I could post my project on this platform, and a chemist, or putting out a call for people with certain skills, and other people could chip in, and if they're interested too, could collaborate with me. Or say I'm really passionate about environmental issues, but I don't have any set project in mind, so I could enter a forum and people could all share their ideas, and maybe something could come from it, kind of like what's happening with Modual. So it would combine features from different apps, like for example LinkedIn and Tinder. So the system could pair you with people based on your skills, on your interests, so to promote collaboration. It would also combine features like Zoom, Miro, Slack, so to facilitate the collaboration aspect and kind of centralize it all maybe on one platform. And an important feature that we were talking about is the role of the audience, kind of to break down that barrier between the creators of art and of the ones that produce research and the people who are consuming it on the other side. So the audience could choose to be spectators, but they could also work as consultants, advisors, collaborators, or co-creators, because our ultimate goal would be to democratize the production of art and research, to kind of give a voice and a space for all these different people who don't maybe normally come into the production of art or research, to kind of collaborate. So yeah, I think that's all. Don't know if any other team members want to chip in anything else.
Feels very clear to me. And yeah, if you are done, we'll take it there. Thank you so much. Fantastic. Okay, on to the next project. Who is this, please? Hello, hello. Thanks for joining us. And are you ready to go?
Yeah.
Okay, your 5 minutes starts now.
Actually, I'm waiting for my teammate.
I see 3 of you there. I think you're all there. I could be wrong. So okay. I'm going to cancel that and start you again. Here's your 5 minutes starting now.
Okay, Apeksha, do you want to start?
I think you're on mute, Apeshka.
Sorry for that. Hi. So our idea behind this project was to inculcate life skills into the main curriculum. Currently, we do have extracurricular activities in which only 6 out of 10 people in schools usually participate. But there is always a problem when we go to universities and colleges where we face, when we actually face problems like repair of electronic devices, for an example, or sewing or stitching, which are basic things, but they come very handy in situations like the current COVID-19, where you are unable to get anyone around you to help you out with it. So the idea behind inculcating this into the curriculum was that it boosts mental balance of students. It boosts their confidence and their skill sets. Their, the skill sets would be divided in levels, like the middle schoolers and high schoolers would have different subjects to choose from. For example, in the middle school, things like maybe CV building resumes are not that helpful. So high schoolers could do with that. But in middle school, you could be taught handy skills like maybe sign languages so that you build a more empathetic attitude. Yeah, and for sharing this idea with the world, I think we would go with a campaign which would be addressed to the schools, school boards, and yeah, my teammates will explain further. Mari, do you want to go?
Yeah, so we just thought about a lot of different skills that would possibly help, because the World Health Organization has a report on different skills that are they think are the important skills for someone to have to go through life. So those are ones that creative thinking and creative and then critical thinking and stuff, that sometimes with blended learning through different subjects and skills, so incorporating the more creative subjects like art and food tech and music and theatre and stuff, and with English or just writing, and then history and science and stuff, incorporating that, so to kind of get a sort of more well-rounded education. And then obviously the stuff that's just good to have in life, being able to change a fuse in something, or having the ability to do some sewing repairs by yourself. And then more teaching with how to alleviate stress, with yoga or meditation and stuff like that. And then the braille and sign language might also be good, because that's really nice for people that obviously have to, if you're deaf or blind, if everyone was able to just do a little bit of that, it might be quite nice for those people. And then also in general, financial skills and how to handle money is something that's not taught much in school. So we thought that might be a good thing to try and promote. That's me.
Okay. And so because we kind of need to integrate these skills onto the curriculum, so we might need to do a campaign for it. And I was actually thinking of maybe taking the inspiration from STEM education, because there's a lot of digital campaign about STEM education. So it's kind of to get awareness from people on why life skills are needed, and kind of maybe put up videos of what kind of life skills that could be taught in schools, and kind of give reasoning on why we would need these skills. Maybe you can say that we can save money by having life skills. And I think Peshka mentioned that the pandemic has kind of shown us how much we need the skills, because we can't have anyone pop over to fix things if they're broken. So yeah, that's the general idea.
Fantastic. Well, you're almost out of time, so unless you've got any last thoughts, I'm going to ask you to finish there.
Yeah, I actually wanted to add something.
Well, you've got 5 seconds, I'm afraid, Apeksha, so make it brief. Go for it.
See, if you are to see the importance of extracurriculars, it decreases the dropout rates by almost 40%, and you're 3 times likely to score higher grades when you're getting the mental peace through these activities.
Okay, that's great. Thank you, Apeksha. Very clear. I think it was all very well expressed, and I'm going to have to ask you to stop there because we're running out of time. So, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Excellent. Right, I think we got 2 or possibly 3 more of these. Let's find out, and then we're done. Here we go. Who do we have here?
Hello.
Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. Are you ready to start your pitch?
I'm indeed.
Great. 5 minutes starts now.
Great. So our project is based around a global school. So quite simply, anyone in the world is able to access this schooling system. All ages, all abilities, mental or physical, everyone has an opportunity to reach their full potential during this course.
So if anybody and everybody can access to the school, the question arises, how much would it cost to attend? Well, the answer is, it is free. The funding should come from the government, and any school facility in existence would be provided in the scheme.
So the format to which this will come in is it will be in school style teaching for the majority of the students, and the locations of these schools there'll be a rotary basis. So you would be in one school for a year or so on, and then depending on how the proximity of others, you could travel to another country, or you can join another school facility that might be more suited to your needs, and you could meet a more diverse range of people with this. But of course, for those unable to do this for whatever reason, the program will be accessible on the internet, and there will be no difference in quality between these 2 platforms. Also, an added bonus would be that the school starts in person at about 10 a.m. so a bit later than normal, but of course for younger students, getting the most amount of sleep possible is vital, and I don't believe that it's apparent in the UK especially. So having enough sleep will improve focus and memory.
So what will the students learn in the school? So the curriculum is suited to help identify each individual student's passion and interests. They will find what they truly love doing, which will guide them into a fulfilling career and life journey. So the thought behind this was that if a student enjoys studying a subject which they find interesting, it will further encourage the engagement as well as the as well as the speed to which the material is being learned. The range of subjects will ensure that no matter the student's interests or level of expertise, there will be an opportunity for them to be able to learn more and broaden their knowledge. The current format of education in UK discriminates against creative subjects, and many are discouraged to engage in such activities academically. Our education platform, however, will value each subject equally and fund each sector adequately. For example, all music lessons would be free, and all the students could learn how many instruments they want, and they will study with members of society globally and will be able to learn about other cultures and types of people to avoid discrimination. Abstract subjects such as mathematics will include content that focuses on the application of skills in the modern world to inspire the students to see the world goal applications of their knowledge. The students will be able to study as many different subjects as possible, and there will be infinite combinations of subjects to ensure that any avenue of interest is explored. Mental health, first aid, sex ed,
diversity, and other vital supercurricular topics would be covered. Cooking and driving will also be taught at no cost.
So their progress.
I'm afraid you got that 10 seconds, so if you could wrap it up here, that would be great.
Great. Okay, well, to finish off, this degree could be understood by anyone, and the degree itself could be appreciated by any organization and country globally to reduce prejudice between individual teaching styles globally.
Fantastic. Great. Thank you very much. Very well expressed. Lovely pitch. Well done. Okay, I think we've got 2 more of these, and then we'll take a break. And I'm not going anywhere. Maybe that's everybody. Oh dear. In which case, yeah. In which case we're done. Oh, my counter says we've got 2 to go, but it feels like I'm going to stop screen sharing for a moment and start my video. Does anybody in this group? I'm going to open my chat as well. Anybody not presented at this stage? Do we have any kind of glitch, or are we in fact done? And there are slightly less projects than I thought in this room. It looks like everybody is happy.
Everyone from Green Pod is gone.
Okay. Pod leaders?
Same with Purple as well. We had 1 that got chopped at the start, so we had 5.
I see.
Yeah.
And Anne?
Blue as well. We had 5 groups in
I see. Okay, no problem. That's great. Well, that was 16 fantastic ideas. And yeah, I think 1 more time. Well done. Fantastic stuff. A lot of hard work went in there, and we really appreciate it. Cool. So I am going to leave you now, and I'm going to suggest we have a tea break. We're all running. We've got different groups running at different speeds. So you guys are going to get a nice long tea break, which is lovely. And we're going to come back into the main room, out of your breakout rooms, at 12:15. That is our next rendezvous. And then I will explain how we vote. And to be clear, you'll be choosing from all these projects, from all these 16 projects, you will choose between them. So between now and 12:15, if you want to, go and have a look at the mood or go a bit closely more into them, and you could talk to the people, you could direct message them on Slack or anything you want to do. But also get up and walk around and have a break and get a cup of tea and all that stuff. And because it's going to be quite an intense process, voting is often quite intense. So do have a break. Are there any questions about anything at all? You could put something, anything pod leaders want to say at this stage?
Yeah, we will have all the notes ready with the Miro links to each of your mood boards, so you can go and check on what we've kind of noted down for you and anything else that you want to see in another person's group. So yeah, that's all from me. I don't know if Rebecca.
Yeah, well done. That was really good. Really proud of you all. So good job. Enjoy your break.
Same with everyone. Great job with all the pitches, and I'll send a message on Slack shortly with all the information.
Fantastic. Okay, so don't change any settings. Oh, you got a question, so go for it.
Yeah, so I just wanted to ask you that if we get to see the listen to the projects of the other 3 groups.
No, unfortunately not. No, we're gonna. These are the projects which you're choosing from. Yeah, and I mean, you know, that's a lot of great projects. You know, 16. I won't tell you how many projects there are, but there's a lot of projects. So we wanted to give you all a very specific range to choose from, and I'll explain a bit more about that when we come back at 12:15. All of these 16 projects, you will now be working on one of those. So think about which one you might want to choose, but you will have time to think about it more after 12:15. Great. Good question, Ashima. Thank you. All right. So don't leave the Zoom call. Stay in the Zoom call. We'll close the breakout rooms when we close them. Don't worry. Turn your cameras and mics off and go and get a cup of tea. And well done. Thank you so much. See you at 12:15. See you later. Yeah, I really enjoyed looking at those projects. I was only in one of the bigger groups, but for me and Abby, it's almost our first time seeing the stuff you've been up to. I know you've been very busy with other staff members helping you out, but it's a big workshop, and it's great to actually see some of the stuff you've been doing. So well done. It all looked really exciting. I'm very excited about where we're at. Okay, it's 12:15, and we need to talk through the next stage, because we're going to ask you now to go through one more process of voting, and then we will have, after that, we'll have the projects that you're actually going to work on for the rest of the workshop. So it's a very exciting day. I want to talk you through a few things first, though, so I am going to share my screen once more. Here we go, and that says back 15, which we are all now back, and it is 12:15. So I'm going to sip of tea just to make sure everyone else has got back in the room. It's only just 12:15. Don't want to rush it. Oh, my mic's not in a particularly great place. I'm going to come over here. All righty. So what happens now, you ask me, and I will tell you. What we're going to do now is I want you to, I want to acknowledge all that work you did. You did it together, and you did it in a collaborative space. You came up with a bunch of ideas together. But we are now going to separate you out now. The client groups are now dissolved. There will be no more client group work in this workshop. You will not be getting together with these other people. Well, you obviously can get together with them informally, but you won't be necessarily working with any of them moving forward. You might be working with some of them, but these particular client groups are now dissolved, and you are all now individual practitioners. You are all on your own for a brief moment in this workshop. It's a very collaborative workshop. We very much stress the whole cross-disciplinary collaboration thing, because we think that's a really special, the special sauce, we sometimes call it, the golden stuff that makes the magic happen. And as I said, for many of you, it'll be possibly a new experience collaborating, or certainly collaborating in this way. So before we go forward, I would just like to ask you to think about what was good about collaborating, and if anyone's got anything they want to share at this point, that would be great. What did you enjoy? What was not good? Was it frustrating to have to share with people, or was there anything that made it useful that you could take forward? Any of the techniques that you experienced help you collaborate? So I'm just curious to know, and if you could stick anything you have in sharing at this point, how that felt. Because I love collaborating myself. I'm a big fan, but I haven't always loved collaborating. It took me a while to get my collaborating mojo on. So given that you've just done it, I want you to think about it, because I want you to take the good stuff that you experienced there, and perhaps you could have done with more of something else. Perhaps there was a situation where you possibly could have done with more time, or more listening, or whatever it was. But can we learn from this experience is the intention. So if anyone's got anything they want to share, and you could stick it in the sharing in your Slack, I will have a look at it momentarily. And yes, I can see some people are about to share, which is great. Yukta is saying, it was refreshing to hear multiple perspectives on one idea. So collaborating really helped me open my mind more. Thank you, Yukta. I'm glad it was useful. Ingrid, it was quite hard to get everyone together because of the different time zones. Yes, I'm sorry about that, and obviously not a lot of that one. There's both pros and cons to working across different time zones. Certainly, it's hard to get together. You get this thing where you can work from one time zone to the next. So one person goes to bed and passes on the job to the next person. But sometimes it's also frustrating. So I hear that. I'm just going to come out of this because I want to look at all the classrooms. So I'm just going to briefly stop that and go to another part of the Slack. Thank you for bearing with me. Good to hear. Lakshmi is saying it's good to hear from people across the world. Thank you. And Sol is saying super nourishing to co-create the ideas together. Interdisciplinary ideas, says Susanna, is always interdisciplinary teams, forgive me, are always a good way to go about the beginning of a project. Very true. So, and again, I think I've mentioned it before, but sometimes there's ideas that are in the ether and they just want to be created, and they just become real through group consciousness. And this kind of sharing really makes things things happen. Lefteris is saying, how to create space within the team so others can use their talents on the project. That's a really cool skill to collaboration. You've got to know when you can say, well, I don't know how to do that, but that person does, and I'm going to trust them. I'm not going to try and meddle. I'm just going to let them get on with it. And there's a lot more collaboration to come yet. Rachel said, it's really interesting to mix practices, as I'm a graphic designer, and Eiley, I haven't Eiley, thank you for the phonetics on the side of your mood board, is interior. Yeah, exactly. What happens when you bounce these disciplines together? So that's really useful, and I'm really glad that you spotted that. So as I say, I'm just trying to make you see what was good, so next time you collaborate, and maybe you'll be beyond Module, you will obviously be outside of Module, but you can look for the similar things to help you. As I say, I love collaboration. It can be bumpy sometimes, that you kind of got to learn to do it a little bit, but yes, it's a great thing, I think. It's a great thing. So I'm really glad that you are seeing the positives there. All right, great. Thank you for that. So now I'm going to go back to my slides, and we're going to talk about what happens next, because I'm sure you're all keen to know. So the final vote, we are now going to go, oh, sorry, I can't resist Sayang saying 1 + 1 + 1 = 1 + 1 divided by 3. Wow, okay, that really is blowing my mind. All right, brilliant. Learning new tech on the hoof is the bad from Jay. Sorry about this great sharing. Yeah, I hear what you're saying, and yeah, it's one of those things where once you've got through the tech, it becomes smoother. But yeah, sometimes it's the best way to learn, I think. You know, I don't learn Photoshop by reading a manual. I learn Photoshop if I need the image sorted out by 3 o'clock. That's my personal feeling, and it's sometimes necessity is the mother of invention there. Anyway, right, I'm going to tell you how things go from here, and yes, let's do a bit of that. So, final vote. So before I talk about the final vote, I'm just going to give you some things to bear in mind when you vote. So you are now going to choose, and there are 2 rounds to this vote, just like the last one. It's not the same rounds, but there are 2 rounds. We're now going to actually want to work on for the rest of the workshop. So yes, this is the point where you say, okay, this project, it really inspires me. I'm really fired up about it, and I want to put the next week or so of my time into making it fully formed, or as fully formed as we can do, certainly taking it to a pitch stage. So that is the choice that you need to make, I'm asking you to make, rather. You don't need to do anything, but I'm asking you to make in a moment. And as I say, there'll be 2 stages to this. But the first thing I want to say is let your ideas go. You might feel very personal about some of these ideas, but I would make the point that they're not really yours because they came up out of a group conversation, and you probably evolved them in collaboration with somebody else. And so don't feel too attached to ideas. It's quite tricky to feel really bonded to that idea, and so no one else can change it. You know, don't mess with my idea. Lose the my if you can, because none of these ideas would have happened without the situation that you're in and the people that you were talking with. So, you know, it flows through you. That's my personal point of view with inspiration, basically. So let the ideas go, and then I've got my slides the wrong way around. That is the slide I wanted to show you next. Really, just your ideas anyway. As I've just said, they all came up together as a result of this collaboration. And also, don't take it personally. It's really if an idea that you worked on that you love doesn't make it through, because again, spoiler alert, we are going to come down now and just whittle down to even focusing even more on these ideas. We're coming to that final dot in the double diamond. So some of the ideas aren't going to make it, and if you put a lot of work and effort into that idea and it didn't happen, as I take it personally, you could take the idea, any of these ideas, and use them elsewhere if you want to. So don't be too upset about it. It's good just to keep going, and you'll get there basically. You'll find, I'm a great believer. You probably heard the phrase already from us. Trust the process. If it wasn't meant to happen, it wasn't meant to happen. Here is the kind of range. I want to remind you of this. Don't worry too much about deliverables and outputs. We'll talk about that later. But here is the range of possibilities, and certainly in the group that I was in, I saw a full spread. So you're already going to these places, and whether or not it's because you saw this diagram, I don't know, but it could be something completely out of the ballpark, right up there at the top in the future speculative zone. It could be something very realistic and grounded. It could be a totally physical project. It could be a totally digital project, or in between. Don't stress about it too much. And obviously, you want to get it right. You want to choose a project you love. At the same time, trust your gut and go with it. You know, no one's getting failed on this. Again, spoiler alert. It's not going to go down on your permanent record. Yeah, we want to make the best projects we can. We've got a big pitch event to loads of people happening next week. At the same time, you know, trust your gut and don't stress about it too much. Alrighty. So let's things now. There are 2 rounds of voting, and I'm not going to explain the second round until we've done the first round. Round 1. Here is the deal for round 1. Choose the projects you've seen. You've all seen around 16, 17, 18 projects. Choose the one project that you would most like to work on out of those projects. And by voting for that project, that's as a commitment. I want you to really take that seriously, okay? However, in round 1, there is one condition. And that condition is that you cannot choose a project that came out of your client group. You have to choose one of the projects from the other 2 client groups that were with you, okay? And as I'm saying right now, this is round 1. There will be a second round. So this is not necessarily the end point for this. But right now, round 1, you are going to choose a project that you'd most like to work on that did not come from your client group. So not the one you made and not the one that you helped choose in the voting session. And when you've chosen it, the way you show that is you place a Post-it note with your name on it next to the project you've chosen in Miro. Now, Abby, I believe you are around, so let's just stop sharing here. And is there anything that you want to say about this process other than
yeah, I think you just have to drag your little Post-it note. I did just then on the Miro board, I brought everyone to where the pitch voting is. So everyone's Miro, if you had the tab open, you should have just been dragged to the pitch voting board by me. If not, it is top center above the Modual Open Futures logo. I will drag everyone to the center again in a second just to make sure you're all in the right place. But yeah, drag your Post-it note. If there's no space next to it, maybe just put it on top of the mood board as well, just to keep that all separate. And you can zoom right in to see the names and to recognize the mood boards too. But just shout us if you're not sure.
I'm going to give you 10 minutes to do that. And again, this is round 1. There will be a round 2. So at 12:37 BST, please come back out of your breakout rooms and we'll talk about round 2. All righty. If you've got any questions, you can ask staff or you can ask me. But just again, I can't re-emphasize this enough. Round 1. This is not round 2. We haven't finished yet. Just round 1. But pick the project you most like to work from, not from your project groups. All righty.
It's showing up properly. Okay.
So everyone knows not to vote for the one that comes from their group.
Yes, exactly. So this is literally just round 1, so don't get too worried. There's going to be another round which will be a little bit more flexible, but this is voting for one project using your name on a Post-it note, dragging it to a mood board that didn't come from your client group. So if you're in green, you cannot vote for anything in green. If you're in purple and if you're in blue, saying goes. So yeah, literally get your name that you can either get your name and drag it to the mood board that you would most like to work on. And yeah, you've got until very specific 12:37 to do that. We pod leaders put together those really detailed notes, so you can go to your Slack channel and you could just read through them and then click the links, which will take you directly to the Miro boards that are associated with that idea. So we labeled them green, blue and purple, so you'll be able to see the other groups. So read them, really think about it, look at the themes, look at the issues, what are you passionate about, and just think about the ideas and really how those boards and the ideas could be brought to life and whether you would get behind them. So we'll give you a bit of time to do that. If you have any questions, just put them in the chat on this Zoom call and we can help you answer them. We've got one that's saying that a board isn't showing up properly. I'd either refresh Miro or actually just click on the hyperlink for that particular board. It should then sort itself out. It's obviously dealing with a lot of content at the moment, so it will all be there. Don't worry.
If your name isn't on a post-it note, let us know, and then I guess we can either create a post-it note for you or you can add yourself in. But everyone's name should be there on a post-it note, and don't double up a name either.
That's what I'm thinking. I think if you've got your name already by your board, use that one, because we do already. So use that exact name. Don't make a duplicate. Just drag it from your board to the one you want, and you should be good to go. Oh, okay, Jay. I don't know why that's happened. I'm going to refresh. I feel like Mira's having a moment.
But we've not got any Fred tunes.
We do. Well, I've got some. Oh no, but it can't be
Copyright.
Well, Maria's not here, so maybe we can.
I think Zoom automatically stops it.
Really?
Yeah, it's pretty insane. Yeah, it goes, no, absolutely not. Thief. Pirate.
That's so strange. Oh, I've been playing tunes and thinking that they've been going through.
Right now?
No, not now. Just earlier.
Okay.
Maria, you are here. Sorry, we're talking about broadcasting music. We just want some music in the background. You are here. Sorry.
Let's get some elevator tunes on.
Okay, let's try and get some Fred's tunes. Give me 1 second. Well, bear with. Yeah, I think if people are having a problem with post-it notes, just refresh or literally close your entire window down and then get it back up, because if you think about it, like, it's not been closed in a while, so it's just having a moment.
Nice to see some post-it notes. There's some popular ones.
Oh, and Shivangi, if you're still having trouble like moving around your post-it, what works for me usually is like if you click on like the edge of the post-it note, it works often. But sometimes like if you click right in the middle, it just doesn't move. So hopefully that works, or you've already solved it already.
Miro seems to be having some difficulties with like 50 people all zooming around. There's so many arrows flying about just now.
It's electric. It's on fire. Miro's like, what's happened? How many people are here? Some incredible teamwork going on right now in the chat. Loving it. Purple, blue and green unite. Avengers assemble. Here we go.
What a team.
What a team. What a team.
Oh, man.
I'm trying to get tunes. I'm working on it.
It's okay. I'll hold the fort. I'll waffle. I'll do a Fred waffle. Yeah. Actually, what turns out, Fred has like mastered a skill that is extremely difficult. That waffling is like something that does come naturally to me. It feels forced. He just seems to roll off his tongue. He just like does it, and everyone's like, Fred's just chilling.
He's just got some great nuggets of wisdom.
Yeah, he's got that experience. That's what it is. It's just like years of pure wisdom that he can just give us all a little bit of it. It's brilliant. This is mental. So many people going about. What we got? So we've got Unethically Rich, doing pretty decent. Who else?
I'm trying to find my music.
Campaigning challenging intervention of defensive architecture. Bossing it as well. I've got to say that I was super impressed by all the mood boards.
Yeah.
Like they were all so well thought out, and everyone spoke brilliantly. There wasn't really any time where
I think this is the best. So this presentation side, you all kind of came either on time or under time.
Yeah.
And remember that, because you're about to work on this project, not this particular project, but you're about to work on a project and you're going to get so deep into the research. But remember this moment and that like top line, you literally did your Beyonce pitch, a couple of stats, maybe some of you, and that's all you really need. Like everything else should kind of speak for itself. So when you're planning your next pitch, literally think about this moment and how succinct and quick you all were, because it's very quick. It's easy to go when you start getting really deep into a project and you want to just talk for an hour about what you're doing, because it's too easy because you've got so much info on it.
Yeah, I agree.
It's important. I might actually just have to sing, because I'm trying to play this music. Unless anybody has like a guitar to hand.
I really want to see that. Do it. I've got a guitar. I've got a guitar here. I'll play some tunes.
Yeah,
I'll play some tunes.
Yeah, perfect.
What do you know?
Just play anything.
As
long as it's not copyright.
Oh, how do I do that?
No,
I don't have any of my own
I'm joking.
songs.
I'm joking. Just play.
I don't know if you can even hear it too. What songs do people want?
Oh no, you got 60 seconds.
Oh no. Let me pick it. Oh, I've got a brilliant one. Hold on.
52 seconds.
I don't know if I'll get it in time. It's going to be so fitting if I can get it. Wait, hold on, please.
Riptide. We've got Riptide.
No, yeah, I played that because it's the only one that popped into my head. Oh no, I don't even know how to play this. Hold on.
You have 30 seconds, Aidan. Come on.
Okay. Right. It's not. I'm not even going to be able to get it done. I was going to do the final countdown, but it's not come quick enough. Oh,
Send us out for 20 seconds.
Oh, I can't sing. That's the problem. You need to sing.
Give me a song.
Oh, jeez. This is
sing.
too much pressure.
6 seconds. Get your votes in. Get your votes in. You did it.
well expressed the idea was. It's much more about the actual idea itself, and it's very easy sometimes to get swayed by a more convincing delivery. And there were some great pitches. They were all great, to be frank. But yeah, it's try and just take that a little bit out of the pot and just go, oh, okay, what's the idea I actually want to work on, rather than I really want to work with them. Trust your gut on the ideas, as it were, and indeed they may not choose it. So there's surely more to this, you say, Fred? Yes, there is. Only the projects with enough votes on them will be made. So we're going to eliminate all the projects that don't get enough votes. And the deal here is there must be at least 4 people and no more than 7 people on any project. Between 4 and 7. That is the deal. Again, between 4, at least 4. If there are 3 people that want to do a project, it ain't happening. We need 4. And no more than 7. If 10 people want to do a project, we're going to have to step away, or it doesn't happen. And we're going to let you self-organize. So what's basically going to happen is we're going to go back in your breakout room, onto the Miro board, and we're just going to wait until those 2 rules, more than 4, less than 7, have been ticked. Those 2 boxes have been ticked. Those 2 rules have been fulfilled. Those 2 conditions have been fulfilled. And that's the deal. And everyone's got to choose a project. The next stage is all about working on these projects. So if there isn't anything you want to work on, then I hope you workshop. See you maybe at the launch event. But if you want to carry on with this, and I hope you all do, because there's some amazing ideas, you've got to choose one. Just one, I'm afraid. You can't work on more than one. And of course, a module staffer will be there to observe, but you have to work that out between yourselves. I wouldn't talk about it too much. Remember, think of yourself as an individual. Just, feel what feels right. Maybe you're in a project where, there's too many people and someone will decide to leave at some point. It usually settles itself through. And if there's any major eruptions, we'll step in. But once the module staffer sees that all the rules have been met, i.e. more than 4, less than 7, everyone's got a project that they can be on, and everyone needs to be on a project. If there's someone who hasn't got a project and they want to be on a project, then the process isn't over yet. Okay? And you have some time to do this. You have, in fact, till lunchtime, till 1 o'clock. So if you do it quickly, you'll get a longer lunch break. Right, that is all I have to say about that, I think. Abby, any thoughts?
All I'd say is that, you've done a fantastic job so far of creating these mood boards, but this is the beginning of these ideas. There's not binding in terms of you can pivot as much as you want. You guys have nailed your visions, I think, and there's still some work to even be done there. So this is the beginning of an idea, rather than, oh my gosh, how are we going to build this bridge to the moon actually, really? So yeah, I think take this as a starting point of what you want to work on, and it's crunch time. We said it was going to be hard. It is a stretch having to make these decisions in such a short amount of time, but we believe in you guys, and stretches are positive. So
Indeed they are. So it gets stretchy, and you got to commit sometime. You got 17 full minutes to work this out. So I think you should go on, do it, unless you've got any questions. And I think you can also ask the people in the room. So let's just do it. We want enough time to work it out. Alrighty, very excited. After this is finished, again, go for lunch. I will go for lunch. Abby will go for lunch, and we'll meet back here at 2. Go and choose. Have fun. Bye.
From your group this time round. and just don't vote on a project if you don't want to work on it. So we need at least 4 people on one group, and no more than 7. I think you're all going to be absolutely fine with the compromising side of this, but it's best to get this sorted before lunchtime. So just watch the board and think about the project, how, like, keep an eye on the projects that you really like and really want to work on, and just watch what's going on before you, so that you can really make sure you're at least working on one of those and that you're contributing to that. But it might take a bit of compromise. That's just pretty natural with the creative process and having to let go of some of your ideas. It's okay. It's a bit painful, but it's okay. It will be fine, and everything happens for a reason, and whatever you work on will be great. So
yeah, just I think the most important thing is that just remember that don't get too attached to the idea that you kind of were working on for the mood board, because that was produced by a whole load of people, you know, in a certain process. So, you know, just pick the exact one that you want to go for, and we can sort out the 4 to 7 kind of after that. Go on, Sushmita.
I have a small doubt. So I can see there are post-its in 2 colors. One of them is yellow and the other is pink, right? So the my name is currently at a board at one place. So am I supposed to make another post-it of my name in the yellow color and place it for my second project? How does that work?
No, just move the post-it note that you'd already placed initially and just move it to whatever one that you want. Don't create another post-it note.
So is it okay if I stay in the same place where I am?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
But just keep an eye on it, because you need to make sure that by the time we break for lunch, there are 4 people minimum in your group. So just until that happens, so just keep an eye out for it. Wicked.
So I guess if someone's sitting on their own, just consider that you're probably gonna have to pick one where there's at least 3 or more people, but no more than 8, no more than 7, sorry. So yeah, just keep an eye out from where you are on the board, I guess, and make a decision from there. But it seems to be teams are kind of building up quite well. I don't see many that are, you know, on their own. There is some big teams, but yeah, I don't see any worrying signs. But we'll come across that when it happens.
Hi folks, sorry I got delayed out there. Is everyone clear what they're doing? Everyone, I think it's a good idea to look at your mood board, your Miro board rather, and it should all make sense.
Oh, good.
Yeah, we just kind of talked them through any problems. So yeah, we're just kind of going over the 4 to 7 group size thing.
Great. All right. Well, off you go.
If anyone's having problems with Miro, I would just suggest a big shutdown and reload. It's taking a lot at the moment, so just be patient with it, and yeah, just shut it down and turn it back on, and it sorted it out. For me, I couldn't see anyone's moved post-it notes. So keep an eye on everything. Make sure you've got at least 4 people, maximum of 7, no more than 7. And you might have to compromise. How are we looking, Aidan? Names.
Not too bad, I think. I think generally all of them are okay. There is some massive teams, but I think they all are within the 7.
That's great news.
There is a couple. I did see one person that was sitting on their own, but I think they've now went and you know, moved to another group, which is a smart decision. Won't force it, I guess, just now. Just see what happens, and because you got another 11 minutes to decide. So yeah.
I might put my music on. Can you hear this? Can you hear that?
No.
Oh, it's so annoying.
Is that maybe because? Is that maybe? Yeah, I was gonna say, is that maybe because it's on your headphones?
Leave computer. Fine. Better? Oh. You might have to mute yourself, Aidan. If you've got your speaker on, you might want to mute, and then it won't replay back into. There we go. Sushmita, yeah.
There was a slight mistake in the spelling of my name, so I just corrected, and I wanted you guys to know that I corrected it. Works? Okay.
Perfect. Yeah, that's fine. Thank you. Thanks for doing that. We'll update everything else with the correct spelling.
How are we doing, folks? Let's have a look. I can see. Shall I share my screen? Maybe this would be useful.
That would be really helpful, actually. I think my Miro's having a bit of a challenge, so that would be great.
Worries. All right, folks. I'm going to share my screen and start this. Turn that music off. but it's looking pretty good to me. Right, all right, let's have a go at this. So share mirror. All right, so let's just zip around the projects. And you can all hang on, I'm showing my whole screen. Let's not do that. That might be a bit weird. Hang on a second. Stop share. Give me 2 seconds. So I was trying to just share Chrome. Can you all see my Miro board now, yeah? Great, okay. So it looks to me like wonderful that was, it's not happening. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people on that one, so it is happening. We've got no one on this project. Again, great project, but it's not happening. We've got 6 here, and so that is happening. We've got none there, so sadly that isn't happening. Over here, that's not people, is it? We've got a double up here, so that's not happening. Neither is that. Sorry about that. And neither is that. And neither is that. Oh, am I missing something here? No, I don't think I am. So we've got these 2 projects, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's okay. And this project, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's okay. And then we've got a 4 here. Is that right? I think so. And another 7 here. So as far as I can see, it is now very clear what everybody is doing. Has anybody not got a project? I can't see any projects that have the rules broken. Is any? Yeah.
Ellie Scott and Will Stockwell have still got 2 post-it notes up there that haven't voted.
They do. Are they on the call?
They're having real trouble with Miro.
Are they on the call?
They're having massive problems with Miro, I think. So they're my pod. I'll get in touch with them both and just give them the options of what they can vote on.
Okay. Well, that's a shame for them because I think they pitched that. Were they both on the same project, or am I imagining it? Will was on the trees, wasn't he? I seem to recall.
Yeah, no, they weren't both on the same project. They were on different projects. But okay. I will get in touch with them now.
Brilliant.
Essentially, they have a choice between 2 groups, I think, because the rest are 7s.
Right. Okay. And it's I'll say later, so forgive me for repeating myself already, but there's small groups, big groups, and small groups are good because you can make decisions quickly and get moving really fast, and big groups are good because you've got more people, but there's strengths and minuses. So, but it feels like that we are about to close this. And I don't want to do that without everyone being happy. But we are 3 minutes from lunchtime. Is everybody happy? If everyone's not happy,
can we put Elle on defensive architecture? Is that full?
Let's have a chat with her about it, I think, and see.
Okay.
Yeah, because if she's got a choice, we'll give her the choice. But it looks to me like everyone's cool with this, and this is what we're doing, which is incredibly exciting. Well done. Can I get a bit of applause out there in Modual Land? Come on, you just did a great thing. You just committed to a bunch of great projects. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 projects out of 16 you chose. Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Brilliant. Love it. Fantastic. Okay. At 2 o'clock, we'll talk through next steps. But yeah, well done. Maximum respect to you all. And yeah, go get a really delicious lunch and enjoy your delicious lunch. Stand up, walk around, and I will talk you through exactly what happens next after the break. After the lunch break. See you later. Well done. That's very exciting. I'm excited. I'm excited.